So let's define becoming a natural singer. What does it mean? When we're a hard case, we've got all sorts of things in the way. We've got this kind of crazy combination of bad muscle memory getting in the way of the technique, and we've got fear of singing getting in the way of technique, and these two problems compound each other and reinforce each other. Now, contrary to that, what do we see when we see, quote unquote, a natural? When we see these singers that just seem to flow easy, flow natural, they seem to be aggressive, confident, they seem to commit so easily. What's going on there? That's what we refer to as a natural singer. And we refer to just the sense of how did they get there and I'm here? It doesn't seem to make sense when you're a hard case. It seems to be completely counter to your reality, completely counter to your world. And the question of becoming a natural singer is a question of process. How do we go through that journey? How do we go through that process of moving from a hard case to a natural, to someone who is not scared of singing, is not petrified of using their voice, is not apprehensive every time somebody says, "Sing, dude, you're a singer." Yeah, how do we get there? How do we go through that process? Now, for many of my students, the gap just isn't that large. They've got some decent head voice working. They don't have much fear through their bridge. They don't have much crazy clutter in the way of their mid-range. They haven't created this kind of fortress of doubt, should we call it. And for them, it's no big deal. They can just pick up some technique, develop and grow and get some momentum quite quickly. Now, conversely, and I've spoke about this many times on the channel, for the harder cases, it's not like that. They have a much bigger drop from where they think they were to where they actually are. And then they have this really steep wall to climb before the learning curve plateaus off, shall we say. And a lot of the times it's that steeper part of the learning curve that A, I enjoy teaching, and B, can be the most rewarding for a singer. Can I get over that brick wall? Can I get to the point where I can see a future as a singer? Can I get to the point where I can see a long, slow road towards mastery? Even though it's difficult, I can see that it's possible. When we're a real hard case, and the hard case students have this sense of like this wall. They just have a brick wall. They can't get above their bridge. Everything they do makes it worse, and they're just in this awful loop. How do I get out of that? How do I get up that wall, that cliff? How do I scale it, that super steep learning curve, to get over the plateau and really to where other singers are, just developing the skills and learning? It's that steep learning curve that inhibits us from going from the harder case to becoming a natural singer. What are the differences? How do we get this sense of contrast when we're only used to the reality of singing being hard? We have to find people who've been through the journey. We have to find singers who we look up to, mentors, shall we say, and we have to get a really clear understanding in our mind that the world I'm living in, the singing reality I'm living in, is not the only option. There are other ways that you can perceive using your voice that are more conducive to sounding natural, to sounding like somebody who just uses their voice, like when they talk, they don't really think much about it. We've got to understand that reality is a process that we go through step by step. We go up this cliff and then we still have to make these baby steps. We have to find a way to traverse realities. The reason I call it traversing realities is it gets across how profound this journey is for the harder cases. It's not just a case of a case of a case. It's not just a question of learning technique. It's a question of traversing into another world, into a world where we perceive making sound differently, into a world where we perceive making sound without fear. And really, that's what becoming a natural singer means. It's what it boils down to is, can we perceive making sound in a different way? Can we get to the point where we go to make sound and we don't have the apprehension getting in the way. We don't have the inhibition, that moment where we go like that. We no longer have that in the way. We just make sound. One of the kind of contradictions of technique and learning this stuff is we spend so much time focusing on mechanics that people get confused in thinking that the end goal is focusing on the mechanics. We have to get to the point where the mechanics are strong enough that we can completely let go of them and let the unconscious mind control everything in terms of the actual coordinations, which leaves us to just express ourselves without fear, without judgment, freely, go, be aggressive, be gentle, be vulnerable. All those things that we want to do that typically people express themselves normally if they're having, excited conversations with family members, should we say, arguments, all sorts of things like that. They will have that flow of emotion running through their voice, no problem. But as soon as they go to sing, they go into another frame. They go into another reality, which is what we're trying to get away from if we want to become a natural singer. Another contradiction in singing is the best singers care the least about how they sound in many regards. They just make sound and let it come out. Now, do they shape their sound? Yes. But it's in a subtler way to what the harder cases think it is. The harder cases think, I've got to really brute force my voice to sound good. The natural is moulding in a gentle way. They're rounding off edges. They are making a nice taper. It's a different type of moulding. It's a different type of shaping to what the harder cases perceive it as. Imagine we've got crude motions with the vocal cords. They're closing really tight or they're letting go completely. We've got a lack of awareness of being able to stretch the cords, so we get to a certain point and we hit a ceiling. We're grabbing the wrong way. On top of all of that, we've got tight muscles grabbing on as well. We've got swallowing muscles getting involved. So we've got this kind of ball, this knot. We've got bad muscles. On top of that, we've got clumsy coordinations of the folds themselves. So the hard case is trying to, or the journey of really trying to become that natural singer that we all want to be, is to unknot all of that. Get rid of the outer muscles slowly. Find the inner muscles. Once we've done all of that, start getting more control and more detailed coordinations with the outer muscles. This journey can take a lot of time depending on all the stuff I mentioned. How far off course have we travelled? So this is really just thoughts about what it is to become a natural singer. Like life, singing is not fair in the slightest. We've got different starting points. We've got different outcomes depending on how much work we're willing to put in. And also we've got different potential. Some people are a little bit more savvy. They're a little bit more able to figure out some of these problems and make sense of what's going on. And other people, you can show them the right path, but they're not necessarily going to gravitate towards it as easily. Other people just snap. You show them something, even if they're a harder case, they will know immediately what you're trying to show them. But it's as random gets. So you just got to figure out what cards have I been dealt, where am I at, and start plodding forward. And that's the journey, becoming a natural singer, where we all want to get to, and what the grand vision is for coaching, and what the grand vision is for just creating something great for ourselves, something rewarding for ourselves as singers. Anyway, hit me up in the comments, guys. Let me know where you're at with your journey. Let me know where you feel like your biggest struggle is becoming a natural singer. And outside of that, thumbs up, subscribe. I'll catch you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.